we talked about the origins of you and how you grew up, and I'm not going to count on anybody looking at the first interview. Let's just do this now that we're here in person, because there's this part where you were working in your dad's restaurant, and I want to talk about that. So you're growing up in Australia. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my dad and his twin brother, my uncle, he's a twin. So they've always like owned businesses in Australia. So I grew up like where like my dad had a car wash and then he had a gym. And so like throughout my from like 12 years old, I've been working in those businesses, like just either like for fun or whatever. It's just like to learn, you know? So I started in one of the car wash cafes, and then I worked at one of the gyms and like the childcare, but not like properly, more like just to learn as a kid, like things and stuff. And I picked up on a lot. And then by the time he'd opened up a restaurant, I had just finished school. I left school and I was working there full time, like Tuesday to Sunday, like day and night. Yeah.
Wow. So how old were you when you were working full time?
I was 16.
Wow.
Yeah.
How old were you when you first started your first full time job?
About 16.
Yeah, I was about 16 too.
Yeah.
I started young. I didn't want to be home. I wanted to be working.
Yeah, I wish my family had businesses though. Yeah, that's very nice.
It is. I had jobs outside of my family's business as well, like around the same age. Like I had a job, I worked for a fashion company in Sydney for a little bit. I did they were an online company that sold, it was like almost like Depop, that kind of vibe, that concept. And they had come from Dubai and they were just starting in Australia, and they hired me and they paid really well. Like I'll actually never forget that. I was like, oh my God, I'm making so much money right now. I don't even know why I stopped that.
Compared to your friends who are making like whatever.
Pennies.
Yeah. Really, I was like, oh my God, okay. But it was that was fun, and I learned a lot from that. And then I worked at KFC, like I did a bunch of things. Like I loved working. Wow. I really did. Yeah.
And so your dad opened up a restaurant. How old were you when they opened up the restaurant?
It was when I was 16.
Okay, you were 16 years old.
Yeah.
And you're working there full time.
Yeah.
And you were actually performing there too?
Yes. So I would always say to my dad, like, Dad, take me to LA. I want to be on Disney Channel. Like growing up, you know, that was my dream. I just wanted to be like Selena Gomez, like Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
I'm like, why can't I go to LA? And he's like, Jazz, you're not going to LA. I was like, okay. You know, so when I had like finished school, I'd always dreamed of doing music, and I used to like write songs and write stories, but I was never like in the industry or anything like that, you know? And when I started working at the restaurants, my dad's twin, he's a singer. He'd been a wedding singer like for a long time, and he would sing on the weekends. Like he would take out the wireless mic, and while he was cooking something, he would just start singing to everyone. Like no stage, nothing like crazy. It was just a family restaurant, and he would just walk around and sing like for fun. You know, people would dance. It was really beautiful.
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah, just literally out of nowhere.
So awesome. Special.
Yeah. So then my dad was like, Jazz, well, if you want to sing, like if you're really serious about it, just sing, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. So then I'll be like waitressing, and then he'll have my backing track ready. And then when he feels like it's a good time for me to sing, he'll start playing the music, and I hear it. He's like, Jazz, take the mic.
Wait, so there was no official introduction? It just happened? No. So you just started playing the song?
It was
surprise.
It was just play, and then...
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So the customers were very surprised. The ones that weren't regulars.
Exactly. They were very surprised. Majority of people loved it. It was just, it was hard for me, and as for any performer, it would be, you know, because it's like, you don't know what their reaction is going to be. You don't know if anyone's going to care, if anyone's going to listen, but they loved it. Like they really did. It was a lot of fun, and everyone was very supportive. So, and they loved my uncle sang the most. That was the highlight for sure. Cool. And I was like, you know, I was there too.